गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। सामवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11. Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka, isn't it?
Yeah.
Text 39. Yeah. Tamme nire balamudhaha strainam chanuvratam rahaha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha. Tamme nire balamudhaha strainam chanuvratam rahaha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha. Tamme nire balamudha strainam chanuvratam rahaha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha.
Hare Krishna. Tamme nire bala mudha seidam chanuvratam raha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yata. Hare Krishna.
Tamme nire palamudha strainam chanu vratam raha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha.
Tamme nire balamudha strainam chanuvratam raha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha.
Tamme nire balamudha strainam chanuvratam raha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha.
Tamme nire balamudha strainam chanuvratam raha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha.
We'll do the word-to-word translation. Tam, unto Lord Sri Krishna. Menire, took it for granted. Abalaha, delicate. Mudhaha, because of simplicity. Strainam, one who is dominated by his wife. Cha, also. Anuvratam, follower. Rahaha, lonely place. Apramana vidaha, unaware of the extent of glories. Bhartuhu, of their husband. Ishwaram, the supreme controller. Matayaha, thesis. Yatha, as it is. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. Purport. Even the transcendental wives of Lord Sri Krishna did not know completely the unfathomable glories of the Lord. This ignorance is not mundane, because there is some action of the internal potency of the Lord in the exchange of feelings between him and his eternal associates. The Lord exchanges transcendental relations in 5 ways: as proprietor, master, friend, son, and lover. And in each of these pastimes, he plays fully by the potency of Yogamaya, the internal potency. He plays exactly like an equal friend with the cowherd boys, or even with friends like Arjun. He plays exactly like a son in the presence of Yashoda Mata. He plays exactly like a lover in the presence of the cowherd damsels. And he plays exactly like a husband in the presence of the queens of Dwaraka. Such devotees of the Lord never think of the Lord as the supreme, but think of him exactly as a common friend, a pet son, or a lover or husband very much dear to heart and soul. That is the relation between the Lord and his transcendental devotees, who act as his associates in the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. When the Lord descends, he does so along with his entourage to display a complete picture of the transcendental world, where pure love and devotion for the Lord prevail without any mundane tinge of lording it over the creation of the Lord. Such devotees of the Lord are all liberated souls, perfect representations of the marginal or internal potency in complete negation of the influence of the external potency. The wives of Lord Krishna were made to forget the immeasurable glories of the Lord by the internal potency, so that there might not be any flaw of exchange. And they took it for granted that the Lord was a hen-pecked husband, always following them in lonely places. In other words, even the personal associates of the Lord do not know him perfectly well. So what do the thesis writers or mental speculators know about the transcendental glories of the Lord? The mental speculators present different theses as to his becoming the cause of the creation, the ingredients of the creation, the cause of the creation, the ingredients of the creation, or the material and efficient causes of the creation, etc. But all this is but partial knowledge about the Lord. Factually, they are as ignorant as the common man. The Lord can be known by the mercy of the Lord only, and by no other means. But since the dealings of the Lord with his wives are based on pure transcendental love and devotion, the wives are all on the transcendental plane without material contamination. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwaraka. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes. Tam menire balamodhaha strainam chanuvratam rahaha apramana vido bhartur ishwaram matayo yatha. The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. So this is the last verse of this chapter, entitled Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka. And we saw how Krishna entered into Dwaraka. Before entering, how he indicated his entrance by blowing the conch, and all the citizens came there. They offered him various gifts. They offered their love to Krishna. They expressed their affection for Krishna. And then Krishna came into the city, and we read about the description of Dwaraka city, how everything was welcoming Krishna. And then Krishna's reciprocation with the different residents of Dwaraka, all types of people. There were the musicians, the bards, the brahmanas, their wives, and the prostitutes. And then he enters into the home of his parents. He goes to, he offers obeisances to Vasudeva and Devaki and his other mothers, like that. And finally, he enters into his palaces where his queens are. Where his queens reside. So this last section of this chapter, we read about, we see different things in the dealings of the queens with Lord Krishna. First of all, we observe their behavior, how, they are shy. That means they are decorated with the particular, attitude of a chaste, gentle lady. Yes. So they were feeling, although they had this emotion where they wanted to go and embrace Krishna, but still they maintained that etiquette. They just did it through their eyes. They brought Krishna through their eyes into their heart, and there they embraced, and they sent their sons like that. And also we see the position of the queens, that they were with Krishna in seclusion, in privacy. And also we see the nature of Krishna. So what we are seeing here is the love of the devotees. Actually, we are seeing the interaction of Krishna with his devotees in the highest mellow, the conjugal love, conjugal relationship, the interaction of Krishna and the devotees, and how this rasa is being tasted by Krishna, and in that the devotee is becoming an instrument in Krishna's tasting that rasa. Yes, Krishna is tasting the conjugal rasa, and the devotee, his wives in this case, they are becoming instruments in Krishna's tasting that rasa. So this final verse is telling us it's not possible to understand Krishna. So what we read here is the queens, they were thinking that Krishna is he's very dear to me, right? He's my very dear husband. And they even thought he was like a hen-pecked husband. Hen-pecked husband means he's very attached to his wife. He would go wherever they go, right? He wants to, like, he'll go to secluded places, like lonely, to be in privacy with them. He would just follow them wherever they went. He's very attached to them. So they were not aware of Krishna's position as the supremely independent personality of Godhead, the one who is, the creator of everything. Everything is emanating from him. He's the greatest. He's the Lord of everyone. They were seeing Krishna as their very dear husband, who is very much affectionate to them, and even, very attached to them. That's how they're seeing. So does this mean here the word used why they're thinking like this? Why they're thinking that Krishna is their henpecked husband, and they're not aware of his glories completely? Why they're thinking like that? Because the word used is mudha. Yes, it is said that abala mudha. Abala means the delicate ladies. Mudha generally we would say means foolish, isn't it? Means ignorance here. So Srila Prabhupada translates it as simplicity, because of simplicity. So this ignorance of the queens, ignorance of what? Ignorance of Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, ignorance of knowledge of his glories in entirety. This ignorance is not the same as the ignorance of a conditioned soul, a bewildered person in this material world. And what to speak of the ignorance of an atheist who comes up with so many, theories to prove that God does not exist. Or even the Mayavadis who would talk about Krishna's body being material, and, so many other philosophies. Why they're coming up with such theories about Krishna? Because mudha, they don't have that knowledge of the Lord. But then it is interesting that somebody who is a devotee of the Lord, he must have some knowledge, isn't it? Otherwise, how he is loving Krishna if he does not have knowledge that Krishna is let's take from our position. We would render devotional service to Krishna. We came to Krishna consciousness after understanding, oh, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then now if you ask devotees, do you know Krishna? So you will give me different answers. Yes, Krishna is, his complexion is like a rain cloud. He wears a yellow dhoti, and, he has a flute. And then, devotees can have further, detailed knowledge of what Krishna does at this particular time, what is his pastime at this particular time, and what foods he likes, and so many details you can get about Krishna. That is on one level knowing Krishna. But that is still not knowing Krishna. You still don't have knowledge of Krishna. So generally, when there is knowledge, you get, when you know something, then you become confident of that subject matter. So from knowledge is power. Knowledge is one opulence that people are aspiring for, isn't it? We want to know. We study Shastra, we learn shlokas, and we get knowledge. But that knowledge gives us control, and then we enjoy that controllership. This is material mentality. We want knowledge, and when we get that knowledge, that gives us confidence. Then I'm able to speak, isn't it? First, I'll try to get some knowledge, and with that knowledge, I'll speak with confidence. And then when I speak with confidence, I'm able to make my point, or maybe even defeat the opponent, and then I enjoy that superior position. Is this the goal of knowledge? Can Krishna be understood like this? You get knowledge about Krishna, about what Krishna wears, what Krishna eats, and he is the creator, and this is the description of Golok Vrindavan Dham. Have I actually understood Krishna with this knowledge? That is just part of understanding of Krishna. That is not the ultimate understanding of Krishna. Ultimate understanding Krishna is, so actually this topic is a very deep subject matter. And I have heard lectures of His Holiness Bhaktividya Purna Maharaj and His Holiness Rompad Maharaj. So I'm just trying to repeat whatever I have been able to grasp from their lectures. Okay, so yeah, knowledge of Krishna. So this understanding of Krishna, real understanding of Krishna, or so one aspect is about what he does, his activities, his opulences. That is part of understanding of Krishna. But beyond this is the interaction of Krishna. So just like in this world, we enjoy the activity itself or a thing itself, isn't it? Just like somebody offered me a gulab jamun, I would taste that gulab jamun and I enjoy that. So I want to enjoy that subject, right? That thing. So this is the initial stage, even in devotional service. So the way Maharaj puts it is, he says it's the form. So here we are attached to the form. But actually, higher than the form is the principle. Just like when Krishna is enjoying, he is not just enjoying that thing. He is enjoying the intent of the devotee to please Krishna. Then how does the devotee desire to please Krishna? In this case, they are the wives of Krishna. So that's why Srila Prabhupada in the purport mentioned the 5 different rasas. So Krishna plays the role of a husband or a lover or a friend, a son or a servant or a master. Why is he playing these different roles? Actually, Krishna is Atma Rama. Krishna is completely satisfied within himself. He doesn't need anything outside of himself for his satisfaction. So in this world, you would find introverts, right? Introvert means one who finds satisfaction within himself. When others come, then he's not able to do to the best of his capacity. He's not able to perform to the best of his capacity. His performance is best when he works alone. And there are other types of people who actually they work best when they're alone, but even when others come, it doesn't disturb them. They're fine with it. And there is the third category, the extroverts. They need others. They need to work in a group with others, and only then they can function well. They cannot do things on their own, and they don't find satisfaction when they're alone. They need to be with others. Krishna is neither the first category nor the last category. Actually, he is completely satisfied within himself, but he can be equally satisfied in the association of others. That means when he is interacting with others, it's not that he's deriving some pleasure, he's dependent on that association for his pleasure. He is actually completely satisfied. But when he is in the presence of others, so what is it that he is taking there in that association when there is devotees who are rendering service? What is it? Because he doesn't need anything. But the devotee has this desire, this love. He wants to serve the Lord in a certain way. Then Krishna is actually reciprocating with that love of that devotee. So what Krishna is doing there is, he is interacting. That's the highest principle. Therefore, Krishna's dealings with his devotees are called pastimes. Like Srila Prabhupada said in the purport here, that in the spiritual world, Krishna is performing these pastimes. 1 second. Yeah. The relation between the Lord and his transcendental devotees who act as his associates in the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. And when the Lord descends, he does so along with his entourage to display a complete picture of the transcendental world where pure love and devotion for the Lord prevail without any mundane tinge of lording it over the creation of the Lord. So pastime, it's like a drama. We also read previously in Queen Kunti's prayers. Krishna is like he performs, or he conducts himself just like a drama artist, a player who's playing on the stage. And nobody is able to understand. So for him, his dealings with the devotees are called pastimes. There's a difference between Krishna's dealings with the devotees when he's doing, just like here, when he's acting like a hen-pecked husband. It's not the same as a hen-pecked husband in this world. It's different. How is it different? Because Krishna's activities are pastimes. Pastimes means, what is the most important thing there in Krishna's pastimes? What's the most important thing? He is reciprocating with the love, with the devotion of the devotee, and in whichever way, so let's use the word form here, whichever form the devotee wants or presents himself or herself to the Lord and wants the Lord to reciprocate in that way, Krishna reciprocates exactly in that form. Whereas in this material world, the form is everything. When I say form, the activity itself is everything. And I think that what I do, I have this feeling that I'm important. So anything that I do is important, isn't it? And therefore I call this as reality. But actually this is not reality, because whatever we are doing is under the control of the external energy. And Krishna's activities, which are called pastimes means like a play. They are actually reality. They are original reality, but they are called pastimes. They are being conducted under the influence of the internal energy. Our activities in this world are conducted under the influence of the external energy. So, and what happens in that interaction when Krishna is interacting with his devotees? The devotee is actually becoming an instrument. And Krishna, being Rasaraj, he's tasting all different rasas. He's tasting all different rasas. So here, when the activities are done under the influence of the internal energy, then Krishna covers the knowledge of the devotee, of his Aishwarya, of his supreme position, so that that knowledge does not interfere with the free flow of exchange of that particular rasa. The devotee's knowledge of Krishna's Aishwarya Bhav is Aishwarya, his position is covered. So that ignorance is not the same as the ignorance in this material world. That ignorance is different. That ignorance is under the influence of the internal energy, whereas the ignorance of the atheist is under the influence of the external energy. So we cannot understand Krishna. Krishna is Achintya, he is inconceivable. But it is not the same in the material realm and in the spiritual realm. Or even in devotional service, when we are performing in the material world, that is also actually a pastime. Whatever devotional service devotees are performing in the material realm, that is also a pastime. But it is of an inferior position compared to the pastimes performed in the spiritual world. So as long as that intention of wanting to please Krishna is there, because that is what the Lord is looking at. He is looking at the intention. He's looking at the devotion. And of course, it's not that the form is completely negated. the activity, how you should do, and the details, the rules and regulations, it doesn't mean that that has to be neglected and that's not important. That is also important. And within that also, particular type of form is considered superior and the others are considered inferior. So, but the essence is the intention. The principle is the devotion, wanting to please Krishna through that activity. So without sacrificing that, that the activity is being done for the pleasure of Krishna, then we take shelter of different forms. When I say form, I mean, the activity itself or the different rules and regulations that we follow. So in this case, the queens adhering to the duties of women. So certain types of duties Krishna prefers. I'm not duties, certain types of form Krishna prefers. So the devotee takes shelter of those forms for the pleasure of Krishna. But if we simply get attached to the activity itself, and if we sacrifice the principle, which is to please Krishna, and that is what is happening with acquiring knowledge and then trying to enjoy it for my own pleasure, then we are missing out the point. Then we don't understand Krishna. We may have knowledge of Krishna, but we actually don't have any knowledge of Krishna. So I hope I tried to, get to the point. So maybe you can give me some reflections on this a little bit so that, I'll know if I didn't go all over the place. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Can someone please tell me in one line or two lines what we understood in this purport?
I'll say something. It's nothing really to add. This is a point that I appreciate whenever it comes up, that on the one hand, we have these very amazing pastimes of Krishna. And on the other hand, we have our neophyte position. So I like discussions where we could learn how to integrate that. And I felt some of that in this class. So I like that. There's the Krishna and the queens, and there's us, and how to understand it and how to appreciate it. So I enjoyed that part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Would anyone else like to add anything? Okay. So with that, we come to the end of this chapter. So the last part of the purport is the Lord can be known by the mercy of the Lord only and by no other means. That's the important point. So we cannot understand Krishna like by any material means. It's not possible to know Krishna, right? So however knowledge we may get about Krishna, if we miss on the principle of devotional service, wanting to please Krishna, without that, however much knowledge we may think we have about Krishna, actually, Srila Prabhupada is saying, we will be as ignorant as a common man who knows nothing about Krishna. The Lord can be known only by the mercy of the Lord and by no other means. But since the dealings of the Lord with his wives are based on pure transcendental love and devotion, the wives are all on the transcendental plane without material contamination, like that. So with that, we will end the class today and also this chapter. Tomorrow, we start a new chapter, chapter 12. Hare Krishna. Are there any announcements? I think Mataji left, maybe. She has a test, she said. Yeah. So we can.
There is Gita Nagari Rath Yatra today. That's the biggest announcement I guess we all have. I know you have to leave for that as well. So yeah, everybody, if you our dear Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, and Lady Subhadra, we haven't seen them for 2 weeks now. So the first time they come out is in Gita Nagari. So if you want to come and see, and that would be wonderful. the Gita Nagari Rath Yatra is really sweet. It's very special to us, especially because our deity come out after 2 weeks, and it's a shower the mercy. So come and join us, all of you, whoever you can, and that's all. We'll see you all tomorrow. Otherwise, for class at 7:50. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील
Yeah.
प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Namaha.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji. Hare Krishna.